So we are about 4 hours into our 42-hour trip across the Bay of Biscay. We left La Rochelle about 12-ish, 11:30, 12-ish today. It's been really flat. So we're sitting out here on the sun deck at the moment. Sun deck.
Yep, bean bags.
In the bean bags, with the engines on autopilot, basically just chilling out. We're doing about 5.5 knots. And it's really very calm, very flat, very, very nice.
It's probably a bit cooler than I thought it would be. You know, the sun's out completely, but I think that it's probably really only about 20 degrees. You can see Jay's
not even that.
Jay's got jumpers on, but the sun certainly warms you up. Leaving La Rochelle this morning was really easy. Just getting out of the port. Lots and lots of boats out this morning. That's
one of the things that surprised me actually, was just how many boats there were. It's like regatta day, and yet it was just a standard weekend day. There wasn't actually any racing going on. We've seen races during the week, and certainly today was not a race day, but man, there were a lot of people out in the water.
Yeah, and also as we were coming out of the main harbour, now we're in the Bay of Biscay, there was certainly a lot of crab pots and other things on flags that we had to pay attention to. We're in a no fishing zone at the moment, so that I can't get the
so
fishing.
So that means there's no fishing?
There's no fishing, no. Not that I think that we'll catch anything, but we'll give it a go. The boat's going fantastic. We're just on one engine, running at about 2,000 RPM. We got the mainsail out, full mainsail, and we had the head sail out for a while, but
we weren't making very much progress.
Yeah, the wind is pretty much directly in the direction of where we want to go at the moment. It's only light, and it's probably only about 6 or 7 knots. So when we pulled the head sail out, we had to make angle of wind. We had to go in the wrong direction. So this is easy. One engine. So
quite cruisy.
Quite cruisy.
Somebody had asked before what we're going to be doing about watches tonight. So basically, when you've got an overnight watch or when you've got an overnight passage, it's a good idea to have one person on the helm, one person having a bit of a kip. So we're going for about 3 hours between watches. So I'll be on for 3 hours and Rod will be on for 3 hours, and we'll just rotate that through until we're back to daylight. But we won't be using our sails at night, just simply because we want to kind of keep things on a fairly even keel, because this is our first overnight passage. And that's really about it at the moment.
Yeah, we need to average about 6 knots, and we're doing about 5.5, but we do expect to see some wind later on this afternoon and into tomorrow, so we should catch that up once we get to sailing a little bit. Haven't seen any dolphins, haven't seen any real signs of life at all in the Bay of Biscay. It's certainly so far. It's certainly not the treacherous Bay of Biscay that we've been.
It can be in winter time.
It can be in winter time, but we have picked a weekend where the conditions are dead flat. So we did know that we were probably going to be sailing or motor sailing for most of it. Well, the boat is going really well, and we're really happy with it. And somewhere out there is Spain, and look, we'll show you some nice videos of the trip.
So this is our second day of crossing the Bay of Biscay. As we said before, it's about 40 hours of travel from La Rochelle to Gijon in Spain. So this is our second day, and we're coming up to sunset, so it must be probably about 9 o'clock in the evening. It's been a pretty flat trip today.
Yeah, look, we haven't got any sails up at all today. We tried real hard yesterday to sail, but that was a failure.
It's just too flat.
It's been flat, and when we had the sails up, they were just flogging yesterday, so we brought them in. We did expect the these flat conditions, and we picked a weekend and 2 days that were going to be flat because we prefer to make this crossing with some calm seas rather than 3 to 4 metre swells, and that come when you've got some good sailing conditions.
Which, as many of you are aware, this is our first time of sailing a catamaran together, and I would say our combined skill level is still novice. So this was the ideal opportunity to go motoring, and if we got the opportunity to sail, fantastic, and if we didn't, well, we didn't. So unfortunately for us, it has been motoring, but we've been averaging about 5.5 knots. We might actually have to slow our speed down in order to make sure that we don't get to Gijon too early in the morning.
Yeah, I have slowed it down a little bit already, so I think we're scheduled for about 9 o'clock. But if we get a bit of tailwinds like we had last night behind us, we may need to slow it down again.
We're both a little bit sunburnt. It's been absolutely cracking conditions today. Absolutely beautiful. So, case of putting on the autopilot, sitting on the sun deck out the front, and just catching a few rays.
So
Speaking of catching things, though,
yeah, we got a fish. Yeah, a bit of a shock. So I was up the front, and we had a hand line out as well as a rod, and I heard a little bit of a rattle. It sometimes rattles, and that's just when it goes over a wave or whatever. I heard a little bit of a rattle, and sure enough, there was a fish on. And so I yelled out to Jay, I think we've got a fish. It really wasn't pulling initially very hard, and so Jay completely stopped the boat. I said, can you stop the boat? So we realised that we had a fish, and we saw it in the kind of the distance in the water. Then, for fear of it deciding it wanted to go chasing the propellers, we decided to start motoring again, so that at least the boat was on the drag, and the fish was being dragged behind the boat.
we finally got it in close enough to the boat.
Yeah.
Gaffed it, brought
Jay
it
gaffed
aboard.
it, yeah. No footage of it until, we took some still photos because it was just happened all so quickly. But it
was a beautiful big bluefin tuna. So I believe it was a bluefin tuna, and we did a little bit of looking in the book that Riley gave Rod for Christmas, the Cruiser's Handbook to Fishing, to help me understand how to actually dispatch and dispatch and chop up the fish. So we did that, and we had fish tacos tonight. They were absolutely sensational.
I've been told that I've got to eat fish for the next month because the freezer is completely full.
We think it was about, would have been close to 10 kilos.
Probably more. I think it was probably 10 kilos.
Fishermen's stories, but seriously, it was close to about 10 kilos.
Yeah, you'll see the photos. And last night,
got very cold.
Very cold, yeah, it was. We had blankets up there, and we we'd need a hoodie because it was cold, and when we had some wind coming in from behind us, it was kind of blowing into the cockpit. We did 3-hour shifts. Only once did we have to adjust course. I had a fishing trawler coming in on my starboard side that was getting a little bit too close, and because he's engaged in fishing and he's also on the starboard side, I've got to give way to him, so I pretty much stopped the engine, did a bit of a loop, and went around behind him. I wasn't sure how far I'd need to go behind him.
Mind you, it did freak me out because I just heard the engine stop and went, what the hell? Anyway.
Yeah. So, but that was pretty much the only time we've had to stop the engines. Running really well, boats doing really well.
And we should be in Gijon by about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, so in about 12 hours time.
Yep, and that is our first other country, so that is
Spain. We are in Spanish territorial waters at the moment, so it was a Spanish tuna, not a French tuna. They sing to a different tune.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's our little blurb from today, and we will catch you tomorrow. So we finally arrived into the port of Gijon, which is in the northern aspect of Spain, so it's just south of the French border. We expected to be here about 10 o'clock in the morning. However, we hit a bit of a storm front that we weren't expecting. We did see that there would be a storm front, it just rolled in a bit earlier than we expected. So we had pretty high seas and we had a bit of discomfort for about 9 hours. In fact, it was a bit scary.
Yeah, look, the swells were about 4, potentially even 5 metres.
I'd say higher.
And it's because of the fact that in the Bay of Biscay, it's pretty legendary for coming from 5,000 metres into 150 metres, and that sort of pressure builds the waves up bigger than normal.
So it's a continental shelf.
Yeah. So Jay particularly was pretty uncomfortable and
I was a bit scared.
Bit
I will
scared.
be honest.
The boat handled really well. The autopilot didn't like doing it. We ended up further east of Gijon, and we were looking at other options further down the coast but didn't appear to be any. There was just cliffs, so we ended up having to bash for about 5 or 6 hours into the waves and into the wind, which was pretty uncomfortable considering we'd had a really long night, and the autopilot didn't handle it, so we were on the helm. So eventually we arrived into the marina
At about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's only about 4.5 hours later than we expected to.
and the marineros greeted us. We called them in on the radio. They come out in their boat, put us in a berth, and we've settled in and going to start looking around Gijon.
Hi everybody, thanks very much for watching our video. If you have any questions, please make sure that you send them through to us either via the comments section at the bottom of our videos or via our Facebook page.
Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe.